Is it possible to have both love and freedom? I guess we'd all hope so, because in our culture, love and freedom are two of our most highly prized cultural values. We all want them. They're part of our vision of the good life. But perhaps we don't think as carefully as we need to about how love and freedom relate to one another. To love is always to take on obligations. There's no such thing as a detached love. When I choose to marry, I restrict my freedom in order to be faithful to one person. When I choose to have children, my freedoms are restricted by the obligations and duties of fatherhood. If I want to forge a deep friendship, my freedoms are restricted by a way of behaving that honours my friendship. In fact, if we want total freedom from obligations, we end up destroying love. Those of us who try and live free from all obligations will always struggle to build relationships of the depth and quality wherein we can experience love. And then this can become a vicious cycle for us. When we don't receive the love that we need, we think that it's because we're not being our true selves, free from all expectations. So we plunge into trying to find that sort of freedom, which further restricts our ability to form relationships of real love. If we pursue this kind of freedom, a freedom from all sorts of obligations, then we'll never get love and we'll never get freedom. If we want to know real love, this involves losing one kind of freedom, but gaining another. Real freedom is the freedom for being who we were made to be. The freedom that allows us to know beauty and truth and goodness and indeed love. So the question is not how can I escape from constraints? The question is, what are the constraints? What are the bonds that allow me to experience true freedom and true love? If we can find these, then perhaps we can have both love and freedom. For the Christian, the bonds of love that give us real freedom are those that are found in God himself. He is the one who created us, who knows who we're meant to be and how we're meant to live. He is the one who perfectly loves us without manipulation, without needing to satisfy anything in himself. It's him that can show us the constraints that bring life, the bonds of love that allow us to be who we were created to be. The Christian surrenders his or her freedom in one sense, this freedom from all constraints. They surrender it into the love and to the will of God. But in doing so, they find true freedom, freedom from our sin, freedom from our selfishness, from our need to succeed or to be famous, our desire to acquire money and possessions, freedom from our need to be right, freedom from our brokenness, freedom from the things in me that ruin my life, freedom from the things that keep us locked in these negative cycles of damage and pain and insecurity that ruin our relationships with our friends and our neighbours. This really matters. If we spend our lives trying to pursue a freedom from all obligations and all constraints, then we'll end up without the love that we need and without real freedom. Not all obligations and restrictions are things that are good for us, but actually, restrictions on our freedom are not something to be afraid of, and are actually something that we can welcome. But our task is to find the true freedom, the freedom that comes with and through the bonds of love.